Christmas at my house. When I was a little girl, Christmas time was magical. It was as much about the welcoming of baby Jesus as it was about listening to Christmas songs, shopping, seeing all the decorations, and dreaming of what Santa would bring. But in my Christmas memory bank, it's all about my mama and daddy. Our Christmas tree came from the country. The country was what we call the 5-acre tract of land that was my daddy's portion of his family's home place in the boonies of Anderson County, South Carolina. Sometimes it was just my dad and I, and we'd spend hours traipsing through the woods, my mind capturing selfies decades before their time. The trees were usually cedar, and if we couldn't find the perfect one, we'd chop down a larger tree just to use the top. Decorations were simple, some passed down, others homemade. My part was to make the garland out of construction paper links, not because of my artistic ability, I'm sure, but probably meant to keep idle hands busy. After the tree came the shopping. I never had a regular allowance, but Mama always had a Christmas Club account at the bank. So I guess it was just sort of like a year-end bonus. That money allowed me and my 2 older brothers shopping money and a spending limit. It wasn't much, but my parents wanted us to share in the joy of giving, and every gift opened was received with oohs and ahs, whether it was a dollar item or more than it should have been. The value wasn't only in the faces of the receiver, but the giver as well. Can you remember any certain gifts you received? There were a few that stick out in my mind for sure. A Magnus chord organ, a 45 RPM record player with a large collection of 45s. It was used and I knew it, but even then I didn't care. The shiny new 26-inch bicycle I rode for years. Later on, I got a tabletop wood console clock radio to carry me into my teenage years. Then a Lucite Mickey Mouse bubble watch and a chromed glass cylinder touch lamp. That was awesome. There were always gifts of clothes, which were underappreciated until I had to start buying my own. My parents were always busy at Christmas, at work, at church, at civic groups and events, but there was always time for Christmas magic. My mama, surely one of the best cooks in the South, made Christmas cookies and treats for us and others. Pretty soon, she was taking orders and creating Christmas trays. She'd bake and my dad would deliver. There were fruitcake cookies, orange balls, date nut rolls, spiced cherry bells, homemade fudge, cheese date cookies, and more. Although I'm a confessed, but not recovering, chocoholic, one of my favorite cookies Mama made were her little nutty fingers. I always thought it was neat the way the pre-baked dough took on the shape of her fingers. But just out of the oven hot and triple rolled in powdered sugar, they turned into buttery, melt-in-your-mouth goodness. After she passed away at Christmas time in 2005, it was too painful to think about the making of nutty fingers at Christmas. She lived her life like she cooked, always giving a baker's dozen. Years later, I found and made her spiced cherry bell cookie recipe. The taste sent me through a reminiscent wormhole. The time it took to make them was surprisingly long, and thinking back, I wonder how she found the time to do all she did. Same goes for my dad. I catch him sometimes, sitting on the couch, staring at the Christmas tree, in a room lit only with twinkling white lights. I wonder if he was thinking about the Christmases of his past, or trying to figure out how to make the current one better. Today, watching White Christmas on TV, seeing those little choir angel candles that we were never allowed to light, walking by a store-bought fruitcake knowing it wouldn't be the same, and yes, sitting on the couch in a dark room, save the twinkling lit tree. All of it brings back Christmas memories like an avalanche of that ever-elusive South Carolina Christmas snow. My Christmas is an emotion as much as it is a date on the calendar. An emotion fueled by the scent of sweet and savory spices, the echo of laughter, the touch of a favorite flannel shirt, or the twinkle of anticipation in a child's eye. It's a magical time of year. Merry Christmas.